Hey, welcome to the Closing Time Podcast. My name is David Mansour, and I'm a mortgage loan officer here in Peachtree City, Georgia. And the goal of my podcast is simply to give you some insight and maybe look behind the curtains in the lives of some of the people that you do business with and see who they are outside of their careers. I hope you enjoy. All right, hey, we have Nathan Dockery with us today. He is a builder, a business leader. He runs a kingdom company. Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you for being here.
Yes, sir.
That might be the shortest intro I've ever done, but
That's all right.
There were some powerful words in there that we're going to get to, and that's why I kind of wanted to keep it brief because this man here is the closest I've seen to somebody trying to run a purpose-driven life. We've heard that term. I think there's a book about it as well.
That's right.
I follow you on Facebook. We were friends when you were building residential and just kind of stayed in contact through Facebook, so I watch your life, and I reached out because I love the videos that you're doing and what you're putting out there and the positivity, and I just thought it'd be great to have that conversation.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Yeah. So let's start with Bill. What's the first project you ever did?
Man, it's probably building a fish pond for someone, probably in college. You know, I helped my dad build some of our houses and stuff, like garages or whatever, and then actually got hired by somebody to build like a big fish pond with a waterfall, and I worked for a landscaping company. And then just realized I probably wanted to be in business for myself, and then went to work for development companies after college. And
so was your dad a builder, or he just built his own home?
Just kind of,
Or you're talking about just repairs? He just fixed
we added garages and sunrooms and gazebos and built all that. And then we built a lake house when I was in college. And so I learned hands-on. He wasn't a builder. He's just one of those guys that figured it out. and I love that because, you know, that's kind of our things is especially with our company, is like, hey, if we don't know the answer, let's be curious, let's find it out, right? Yeah. And let's learn from it, and let's get better.
That's right. So what's the name of your company now?
So Dockery Group is our general contracting company.
And you do mostly commercial?
We do mostly all commercial and development. Okay. So, you know, we'll do a development with 18 cottage homes or whatever. We've got one starting. We'll do shopping centers. We'll do tenant build outs for doctors, restaurants. Okay. So we kind of run the gamut. We've been doing some light industrial lately.
Yeah. A lot of your videos I've seen, there's some really big things going on behind you. That's what, whether it's a big tractor, like 12 years old in some senses. Like I see a big tractor or bulldozer or whatever behind you.
Yeah, just expensive toys, right?
Yes. That is fine. So what's the difference? And you can answer this anyway. I think it's got to be universal, whether you're doing commercial or residential. But what is the difference between a good builder and a great builder?
You know, that's hard to define because I think construction's imperfect. And, you know, especially when I used to build houses. Yeah. You know, I always kind of would ask them, like, have you ever built a house? And have you raised children? Right? Because I think it's harder for a couple to build a house together almost than raise kids. Because, I mean, they'd have a fight over a light fixture, you know, because it's an emotional process when you build a house. And so, you know, you want to get as close to perfect as you can. I think it's really like doing it with the intention of doing a good job, like a great job, and setting an expectation and a standard that we won't accept anything less than great, but that it can't be perfect. Yeah. Right.
I asked an on-site agent that question, and their answer threw me at first, but then when he explained it, I asked him, what is the first thing a buyer should notice when they're driving up to a subdivision? He said, how clean it is. I was like, what does that matter? He's like, well, if they can only keep their property clean, if they don't even have pride in their product, then what are they doing to your house? I was like, that's amazing. Like, because I mean, he talked about like, we don't leave the job site until it's cleaned up. Like there is not trash around, there are not tools around. It is cleaned up. So anytime you drive by here, it is picked up. And I was like, that's an interesting little point. So that goes into the details and pride. Like, you know, what is the saying? What you do sometimes you do all the time, or something like that.
How you do one thing.
How you do one thing is how you do everything.
Oh man, my kids probably tired of me saying that. And a buddy of mine, James, he says it too. You know, and it's like it's a record. Yeah. And if you play it in your head, you believe it and you live it.
I need to play it more because, you know, my room is not very clean. But that is, and I hate to admit that, but just being honest, that is probably how I do everything. I mean, my house is clean right now. Yeah. But just because you were coming over.
Well, and you know, like, and I tell, you know, like my 14-year-old especially, I'm like, hey, if you've got a messy room and you're disorganized, you've got a messy brain and disorganized brain. Now, my office gets messy, but I have to clean it up because that chaos, like, I feel it in my life.
Yeah.
And I think like something for me, like my word of 2026 should be like clutter. Like getting rid of clutter and things that I don't need to focus on.
Right.
Because I do believe it does, keep you from being excellent, if you will.
1,000%. I have a very good friend of mine that she knows how I live and that I have a son here, and she is constantly like, you have to keep the house clutter free because you don't notice it because you're used to it. Mm-hmm. But that can add stress to other people. Your son, maybe if he's not getting to his homework, maybe it's because the kitchen's not clean. Maybe it's because they just feel like they're sitting in this chaos and they don't know how to move forward because they're surrounded by, whatever.
Yeah.
A dish that's sitting on the table
or like a big mess that's overwhelming.
Right.
Because then you don't want to tackle it.
Right.
And that's something I struggle with is I'll get so overwhelmed. I almost kind of get like analysis paralysis.
Yes.
And, started listening to a bunch of people that were way smarter than me. It's really just like taking action.
Yeah.
Right. And you don't have to do the whole thing, but do something.
Yeah. Atomic Habits is a great book.
Oh, yeah.
I read it once. I need to read it again because there were some things in there that were absolutely just brilliant and so simple. And, a simple thing I think it said in there, when you take your shirt off, hang it up right then.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Because I normally take it off and I lay it on the little thing at the end of my bed, and then I do whatever, and then I say I'm going to come hang it up, and then I don't. It's like, why? Mm-hmm. I mean, is it really that much harder to put it on a hanger and hang it back up than it is to lay it on that bed? And I was like, God, that's so simple and so easy.
Well, and just make it easy. Like put your vitamins by the coffee maker or by your toothbrush. Or if you want to get up and work out, get everything out the night before. So all you have to do is get up and do it. Yeah. And it's easy to say it. It's harder to do it. Yeah. And I think that's true for everybody.
What do you think about this? Somebody said this the other day, and they said they always back into their driveway because every morning they want to be moving forward straight ahead. And they said it sounds ridiculous, but when I get in my car, and maybe it's because they've told themselves that, I don't know, but they said, I do not want to be going backwards first thing in the morning. I back in so that every single day I am moving forward the first thing I do. I was like, yeah, that's pretty interesting.
And I like that, and like who wants to back out into a street? You know, if you can just pull right out.
Exactly.
And I think it's just like setting a timer on your coffee maker.
Yeah.
You don't want to get up and make coffee when you just woke up. Make it the night before, set a timer, get up, and you can pour a cup of coffee.
And I have a men's group at 7 a.m. and we meet at Hero Donuts if anybody wants to join. And I don't like the coffee at places like that. Right. And it's expensive. And so I always want to take my coffee, but then I always get up and I get a shower and I run there. I was like, oh no. And I either leave right now and I'm on time. Mm-hmm. And so I even have a coffee pot with a timer. I need to start doing it.
And I've
got two things to do now. I know.
And see, she makes it every night. Like that's one of her things is like, she makes it every night. And it's just the habits that we've created. And like it's the little things that I've noticed that become big things. Right. That then when I just kind of back to the Atomic Habits book. Yeah. If I make it easy to do what I want to do and I create that habit, then your brain, it wants to use less energy. Right. And like, you can listen to Atomic Habits and Layla Hormozi and Ed Mylett and all these super smart people, and there's all these little tips. You can only take one or two of them. You can't do 27 things at a time. But we just try to pick one habit. Yeah. Even with our kids. I'm like, hey, let's try this one thing.
Yeah. That's the great thing I think about that book, though, is because that's what it talks about. Like, we always think, I need to be disciplined. I need to have a routine. He's like, you don't need to be disciplined. You need to pick one thing. Yeah. And then once you get done hanging your shirt up every time you take it off, and that's a habit, then pick something else. Like, okay, every time I take my clothes off, I'm going to put it in the hamper. Right. Or whatever that is. And he's like, these tiny things that are so easy if you do that one little thing. That's why I love the book, because it wasn't about how to keep your room clean. Right. It wasn't like, you got to make your bed and do all that. It was like, no, just hang the shirt up when you take it off. And I was like, God, that's so simple.
Well, it's applicable to everything. I mean, it could be with like your dog jumping on you. It could be with your kids. It could be with you. It could be with work. Yeah. Like, you can pick your habits and you can build them all the same way. Yeah. And it's one at a time. So I do love that. Yeah. Mm. It's big deal there.
Yes, definitely. So you mentioned you run a kingdom company, and I wrote, I just love mission-driven businesses. What does that mean to run a kingdom company?
If you find this video, please subscribe.
So I think, I'm still learning everything about it. I feel like I've always tried to be a good leader, right? I used to want to be a boss. And, there's that, everybody's seen on social media, it's the picture of the people carrying the guy up on the chair. They said, that's a boss. And then the leader is actually leading everybody and they're all pulling it together, right? And when I changed my mindset, really God just opened up a lot of doors and opportunities for me. And he brought the right people into my life. And honestly, like, they're great leaders of their family, a lot of men of God who are leaders in their home, they're leaders in their business, in their community, their church, whatever. And I just saw how they were doing business and I looked at their company culture and like, that was my heart, but I didn't know how to do it. So I became curious. I asked a lot of questions. I actually joined the C12 Group, which is a group.
Yeah, let's dive into that because I've never heard that term. So what is a C12 Group?
So C12, and it's new to me. I just started towards the end of last year. So Bubba Rupp, if you ever see this, like, here's your shout out.
Bubba?
Yeah. So
that's who my insurance is with. I barely know the guy, but we've talked. He's a great guy.
Dude. Great dude. He's the one who told me about it and got me connected with him. And then there was an opportunity to join. And it's a group of like maybe 10 to 13 people. Ours is all men. It's all business owners that meet certain criteria. It's an international organization. And so the gentleman who founded it ran businesses, but wanted it to where they poured into their clients and their employees and their people. And they were really impacting them in a kingdom manner, right? To be the hands and feet of God, to serve their families, to serve them, but to also be producers, right? Because the Bible calls us to not only to live in abundance, but to also take care of everybody and make sure they have what they need. Yeah. And so, like, when I started really, diving into it, we're pouring into people within our organization, but then it's affecting our communities. Like, we did a big project that we were able to do, like, basically manage the entire thing for free for Hope Global down in Noonan last year. And they raised a bunch of money. We were able to take that and put it towards costs and completely redo their entire facility with Luke Ayers. And so those kind of impacts we get to make because our company's healthy enough that we can go and do that and not charge for it. Wow. Right. So we pick one of those a year. This year, we're anticipating doing an aging out foster facility with a guy that I know. And we're super excited about that. Just getting to impact people that we have no gain from. Yeah. Right. And so we just pour it into our employees, our families, their children, their futures, the next generation. So all of that is really part of running a kingdom company and our clients. Okay. Right. Wanting the best for them.
That's a big part of it. Yeah.
Well, because we have a lot of startups we work with in the medical field, especially. And so, like, we're literally the biggest piece of that. We're building their entire new medical office. So we're like the quarterback, the general. And so we're like, hey, you go and do what you do. We'll hand you the keys to your office and ask you questions, but let us take that burden off your shoulders, right? And hand you this amazing new office to go and thrive in, right? Yeah. And like, we still stay in touch with them, and it's just great seeing them. Like, I'm going to a dental conference next week where I'll see a bunch of dentists that we've worked for that I still talk to. One of them actually texted me yesterday and was like, hey, I want to build a house. Will you build me a house? Right. And I was like, I don't build houses anymore. But it was just like kind of a little nod. Like, hey, we built her office over a year ago.
Yeah, that's a big compliment.
And it was such a success, right, for her new business that now she's like, hey, I need to build a house. Yeah. I want you guys to do it. Right. And so being a kingdom company is building those relationships that we pour into the community where our company remains successful. Yeah. We are, we have to make money. Yeah. But at the same time, we create a service and an impact that we really illustrate, like God's love and how people should treat people.
Yeah. And the C12, of course I use ChatGPT to learn about anything, but it said that a lot of people, he said, he'll probably reference that my C12 group is kind of like my board of directors. Yeah. And I was like, that's pretty interesting. And it talked about how y'all, in that group, it's not just like a men's prayer group, that y'all actually dive into business strategies and obviously it's faith-based, but you're diving into business strategies, you're pulling out financials and goals and what you're working on and then all tying it back into, a purpose-driven life for God. And I was like, that's a pretty amazing organization.
Well, and what I love about it is it's a group, and I think ours is, we're 12 guys now, maybe 13. And like,
you can't go over 12. Well, it's in the name.
There you go. I guess I'm thinking of the guy who leads the group, right? Okay. But like, we know each other. We know our wives' names. We know our kids' names. We know about our families. We talk about everything inside that room for an entire day every month. We have a chat group. We have like an app so that we're setting our goals, and it's very transparent and it's very accountable. And sometimes, we call
transparency creates accountability.
Dude, and I love it, where if someone's like, yeah, I really need to do this, and you hear it long enough, somebody goes, look, you've been saying this for 6 months. You're doing nothing about it. Yeah. So let's create some accountability right now. What are you going to start today to make that change, whether it's with business or health, or like if we've got an issue with an employee and we're like, hey, because, maybe I've got to let somebody go. And I'm like, I don't really know how to handle this situation. Here's all the details. And you bring it up at part of the group meeting, and then you get input from guys who have literally been through that situation on how they handled it, what the right way to do is it. And then we pray over each other. Yeah. And then we constantly check in. And so I just love the one, it's just a good group and some great guys in my group. Secondly, it's going to raise my bar, right? Yeah. And I love to say like that high water raises all ships. If I'm raising my bar and another guy's raising his bar and we're all learning, it was literally just texted this to the group this morning, that if I'm working with you and you're teaching me something, I can only get better at what you know more about than I do.
Right.
If I'm in a group of 12 guys and we're all getting better from each other and we're all raising that water, we're going to exponentially all get better. We're going to be better husbands, dads, business leaders in our church, like just all the way around, we're going to be better and we're going to impact more people. Yeah. And ultimately, like, that's what it's really all about.
Yeah. And add community in there. I think, I think we all need to do a little more with, we all like to impact our work or our jobs. We all want to impact our church and our family. But I think we all need to get more into our community, whether it's just your next door neighbor or whatever.
That's right.
And do more. So I love this question, and I'm going to get up and check, make sure everything's recording properly while you answer this. So tell me a moment where values forced you to make a tough business decision.
Okay. All right. So I'll look up at the camera for this one since you're checking it.
Yeah, we're good.
So, and it's just one of those things where you don't know how it's going to come back to you until you see how it plays out.
Right.
So we had a project, and for whatever reason, there was a bunch of confusion. And between my guys and the door people, they put like a building front door in the middle of somebody's office. It was supposed to be like a clear glass, like just like a shower door, like just a real nice, and somehow they put a big storefront aluminum door. I don't really know what they were thinking, but it's like a $5,000 and they were like, well, what do you want to do? And I was like, well, tear it out, order the right one. So tear it out. This is in the middle of the waiting room. Office is done. We have to go in there, make a big mess. We try to do it all in one day, get everybody there, tear it all out. It's like 2 weeks later. They put the door in and it's like wrong. And they're like, well, he gave me the measurements and this was this and this was that. And the doctor was like, what's wrong with this door? And he like texted me. He's like, I think there's something wrong with this door too. And I was like, man. So I called him and they're like, yeah, I don't know how the measurements got messed up. I guess when we framed it back in, it didn't work. It's going to be another $2,000. And I was like, okay. It's like, just do the right thing.
Yeah.
Get the door ordered. This office turned out great. They're great doctors. Like, we're going to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Right. And it's going to cost us money. So we get it all finished up. You fast forward, that doctor didn't find out about it until way later. And he's like, I had no idea that you guys just fixed all that and ate all that money. But I guess like somebody told them on the job or something. Yeah. And we continue to do business with them to this day. Right. And it was one of those things where, because we just chose to do the right thing, I'm not going to go back and be like, hey, we made a mistake. I need you to pay for it.
And I think you've seen that, whether it's a lawn person or somebody that's washing cars. I think there's a lot of people when they're starting, they're chasing the dollar and they need every penny and they're not honoring those mistakes. And I think for anyone that's going to be self-employed, whether you're sales, whether you own a business, whatever, you've got to know that you're going to have those mistakes and you have to own them or you're going to go out of business. Yeah. Or you're always going to be chasing the dollar if you're not doing business the right way. Yeah. And that's no way to be self-employed either.
No, or run a business or even scale a business, you know, and I think it maybe was Alex Hormozy who was talking, he said, to get to $1 million, you have to be able to lose $10,000. To get to, whatever, you got to lose this much. To get to 10 million, you got to lose $100,000.
Yeah.
And you get up to $10 million of construction, you're going to probably make $100,000 of mistakes.
Yeah.
And you just have to understand that that's the cost of learning, right? Now, you don't want to, but inadvertently, as the jobs get bigger, the mistakes get more expensive, right? And then as long as you don't make the same mistake twice, that's my rule, right?
And you got to prepare for that.
Yes.
Don't go spending all the money, because you've got to you've got to be prepared so that you're able to make that right decision. Because I'm sure there's some people that are using one job's pay to go to the next, and they can't afford to fix their mistakes or whatever. And then it's, again, I call it chasing the dollar. They're just constantly moving to the next job to find more money versus, people seeking you out.
That's right.
To do business. So.
Adding value, right? Once you start adding value instead of chasing the dollar, like, it changes the game.
Very
and
much.
you lived through the last recession.
Oh, yeah.
And so we saw all these guys lose everything because they were so over leveraged and they had no money saved. Now, some people just couldn't help it. I mean, it was bad.
Right.
But I'm seeing all these young guys again. They're buying $100,000 trucks, and they're doing this, and they're spending all this money. And I know that they're not making enough money, that they've got 6 months squirreled away for a slow season. And, I'm kind of like, hey, man, look, like, here's just some advice.
Yeah.
6 months of your operating expenses for your company, just set them aside. Don't go buy that new boat yet. Wait 6 months and get it.
Almost should be more than 6 months now. I mean,
because
there can be lulls. Yeah.
You're seeing the home building. Yeah. It's still not coming back. It's actually starting to slow down, I think.
Yeah.
And so, we just need to be prepared for that slowdown. Yeah. And that's being a fiduciary. And kind of like you said, like C12, kind of like a board of directors. I do a thing where, I meet on Saturday mornings with my CEO, who's God. And I go in my office at my house, and I get on my whiteboard, and me and him have a meeting, right? And I write everything out, and we talk about it. And that's how I manage my company. Yeah. So I talk through it with him, and I go, all right, that's the right decision. That's the right thing to do. These are the right.
And just to backtrack, you said you have that meeting with God.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure that was loud enough that they heard who you were talking to in that room. Yeah. So I love that.
And this is a concept that I shared with my C12 group, and I actually sent them a picture. And I mean, like, my board was covered, and I do it with colors. And I was like, guys, I just finished my Saturday meeting. I wanted to share this with you guys. And some of them were like, this is great. Yeah. This is what we're supposed to be doing, right? And I stole it from somebody else. Yeah. And so I was able to take that knowledge, share that knowledge. And man, I just find that I make such better decisions. Yeah. Because if I talk through it and I kind of have to write it out, and I'm like, what's the right thing to do? Yeah. Then my no is a no, and my yes is a yes. Yeah. And I think that's really what it's about.
I just did a podcast with a couple friends the other night that are in my men's group, and I did that mission trip with them. We were talking about, I was just asked the question, how do y'all pray? Like, what does that look like physically? Not what you're asking for, what the terms. And one of the guys, he was like, I talk to God all day long. I'm like, what? Like, what does that mean? He's like, on the way to work, when I'm sitting there, if I have a moment, I'm just like, he's like, I'm not sitting in back. He's like, I might be driving the car, and I'm just like, hey, this is what happened. What do you think? Like, and I was like, that's pretty amazing. Like, I just never even considered that. So that was a good tie-in.
Yeah, well, and I love that, I heard somebody, like, because I used to think you could only pray. Yeah. My faith journey, I grew up like Lutheran and Presbyterian and stuff, and everybody's kind of like, well, here's what you do, and this is the way it's always been, and this is how you dress. And, the last 5 to 10 years, I've run into so many people that are like, man, he's your friend. Yeah. He's your father. Like, just have a conversation with him. And especially with the weather getting warmer, like, I go to the gym, and instead of doing cardio on the treadmill, I take this walk on the link now that goes like up and down a bunch of hills. And man, I talk the whole time. People probably think I'm crazy. Like, no headphones in. I'm just talking away. Yeah. But it's like, hey man, I don't understand. Like, I need I need help with this and help with this. And so, when you can actually talk through it, and he gives you, and he doesn't always give you the answers. Yeah. But that's what praying's for. Yeah. It's like, hey, show me. And actually one of my really good friends, he sent me a video this morning. He was taking a walk and just was like, hey man, I don't know what's going on with you, but you've been on my mind. Been praying for you this week. And I'm just out here early, like taking a walk with God. And I know it was early because he had a hoodie on, so it's still chilly, And I was like, man, these are the people we want in life, right? Yeah. And this is the relationship we want with God. And so the more I've surrounded myself with people like that, the more it's impacted me. And I just feel like becoming a better person, learning from all these other great people I'm around.
Well, and with the prayer, one of the things that I was talking with my men's group and all that mission trip is that I struggle with just attention span. Just to sit and have a prayer, I'm in left field in 30 seconds. And they're like, there's so many ways to pray. It's like, somebody recommends write it down. If you write it down, you're a lot more focused.
Yeah.
So if you literally write that conversation, I was like, okay, that's a lot more. And then somebody else had mentioned like, hey, I was listening to this guy that did a podcast and he prayers through worship music. Like he literally has just got the music loud and he's not saying it, but his thoughts are doing the prayer. Like he's singing the worship music, but it's just, that's his form of prayer. I was like, okay. Because I've really fallen in love with a lot of worship music now. It's pretty amazing.
Well, and it's funny because like when I was younger, and I say younger, the first 30 years of my life, I thought people who listened to worship music and prayed all the time were like Bible thumpers and they were, and it was really just a misconception because I didn't understand it. And now that I do, if I'm out washing the car, if I'm out doing stuff, I usually have Christian music playing, like where everybody around my house can hear it, in the car in the morning, like if I'm not on the phone. Yeah. Because it really does. Like there's something about it.
It centers you, brings you back. It makes your thoughts a little bit
fills me
better.
up, man.
Yeah.
And so now I'm like, been missing this my whole life. Yeah. It's good stuff.
It is.
Yeah.
So and I'll explain this question after I ask it. So, because we just had this conversation, and I loved it at our men's group. It said, what does leadership look like with faith? And the question this guy asked he was like, I think he's a police officer. And he was like, I don't know how to talk about Jesus in the office because it just feels like I shouldn't be doing it because of my job and my title. And so we kind of went around and people had ideas. And the guy shared that he's like, one of the most influential people that I barely knew had a Bible on the end of his desk every day. He said, never said anything about God, but that Bible was at the corner where you could see it. And then once in a while, you might walk by. If he had a break, he might sit and just read it a little bit. He said, didn't ever talk about religion and God. But he said it was such an attraction, it made him seek that out. And so that was a great idea for opening up that conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Because this person wanted to, he's like, okay, we're supposed to be leading people to Jesus. How do I do that as a police officer?
Yeah.
And that was a great example. So what in your, maybe as a business leader or business owner, how does faith come into leadership in your job?
So, and I think it depends on the size of your company too. We're small enough that I know kind of, because it's come up in conversations, I know everybody's kind of position on faith and we openly talk about it. And I think in a big company, especially like a police officer where you've got lots, hundreds of employees maybe that you interact with, I think it's doing the right thing and being that example. And, a lot of times too, like something will come up and I'll go, look, let's just think about it. What's the right thing to do? What's the right thing to do? And they'll go, well, I mean, it's this, but it's going to cost us time or it's going to cost us money. Right. And then the answer is always like, well, then let's do that and let's make it work, but let's find a solution. Yeah. Right. And let's do the right thing so that we don't take a shortcut and we don't do the wrong thing or whatever, we're dishonest or whatever. And I think that's a big key is just illustrating the characteristics of it. And then, of course, like, I don't mind saying like, look, here's the deal. I was praying about this. I've been praying about this. Here's my heart. This is what I want to incorporate. This is the SOP I want to put in, and this is how I think we should do it. Right. And, we've been going through a lot of growth and we're bringing on a bunch of people over the next 90 days that we've been hiring. And so like, we're kind of recreating our onboarding. And I've been doing a lot of praying about that and a lot of working on that because I want to onboard people the right way so that they do understand our mission statement and our values and our core principles of our company. Because I think if that's the overarching theme always in our office, that it's like, there's never going to be a decision that I'm not involved in that isn't then made with those values, right? So I empower everybody to make those decisions. But if we don't have a standard and we don't have a set of values, I don't think I'm doing my job as a good leader to make sure that everybody's making decisions based on the same values. Yeah.
I love that because I know Southside did something. They did a whole, I don't know if this was their mantra for the year or whatever. They be known for what you're for is what their thing was. Let's be a church that we're known for what we're for, not what we're against.
Yeah.
And when I tell people, it's like in that situation, just be the light. Like, if you are just a great person and loving on people, people are going to be attracted to you, and there's your opportunity. Yeah. People are attracted to people that are kind and nice and loving and all those things. And once they see you living a great life and what all you're for, then they're going to ask, well, I want some of that. Whatever you're doing, that's who I want to be. I think that's, in my idea, that's how you should witness to people versus you shouldn't be doing that, as I'm against that, and that's that, and you voted for the wrong person, and that's anti.
Yeah. Well, it's all like that negativity. And I see some people, they want to gossip and they want to talk bad about people, and you could spend all that time and energy doing something good with it.
Yeah.
And it is weird, like you said, like people being the light. In the past, I guess 5+ years or whatever, I've really tried to change the way I live in the fact that, hey, let me be a light, right?
Yeah.
In the Bible, it says, don't light a lamp, put a bowl over it. And in this world, like, we got to be a light in the darkness. And no matter if you listen to somebody like Sean Whalen, who's like the Lions Not Sheep guy, who's super outspoken, or even just like a pastor at a local church, being the hands and feet of God, being the light, just shining the light. And I love the lighthouse analogy, which is the lighthouse just sits there.
Yeah.
The birds poop all over it. The storms come against it, and it just shines its light, man. And it shines its light. And like Sean was one of my coaches for a while, and has got a big lighthouse tattooed on his arm, like put it in his book. And ever since I heard that, I've seen it from a lot of other people.
I've not heard that. That's great,
dude. And it's just, but I thought about it, and he's like, they build it on a rock.
Yeah.
It's big and strong, and it shines its light 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, light, dark, storms, no matter what. It gets covered in bird poop. And he's like, people, crap all over them, and they just keep shining. And he's like, and you have to be like that. And that's given me more fortitude and just relentlessness in everything I've been through in my life, to just be like, hey, I'm going to keep doing good. I am so far from perfect. Yeah. My list is 25 pages long of all the things that I'm broken and I need to work on, right? Because at the end of the day, we're all just a sinner.
Yeah.
But I love the fact that we can shine that light and just be a beacon, right? And if somebody just sees us living that way and we never know it, but they go and start changing, then we've accomplished what we wanted us to do, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that's like one of my biggest things right now. And it does. Like, people notice it.
That's awesome. I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna go buy a lighthouse and put it on my desk or something. That's
it's
pretty
good,
cool.
man.
That is awesome.
If you kind of look it up, there's some people who've written books about it that really like talk about it. And
well, the waves crashing, the storms too, not just the poop, but the storms are coming against it, and it's still, just stand there. So when did faith become the center of your life? Like, was there a moment of time, gradual, or did it come back? Because in our little leadership men's group, we're talking about the deserts of faith sometimes and all that. But like, is there a moment or a time when faith just really became the center of everything that you do?
Yeah, and I mean, I went through a divorce a while back, probably like 8 years ago or whatever, but it was a long divorce. I think it was like 4 years long. And, during that time, I had wandered away from God. We'd gone to church here and there, but really hadn't kept a great relationship with him. And then, you always hear people say, like, we start really praying when we're in our lowest moments, our hardest times, right? And then we forget about them in the good times. And so, I started, praying about that, and then, started going to church again, and we got in a church, and, kind of just, you met somebody that I'm now married to, my current wife. And we were like, we got to get our kids back into church. We got to do the right thing. And so we started going to a church, and the two oldest ones got baptized. And then mine eventually got baptized. And then in that whole process, we found out that my great-great-great-grandfather was the founder of the Church of God. It's a church,
wow.
And we go to church. And so found out there's all these books on it. My relatives knew about it, and I had no idea because I was so far from it, living my own life for me. And so it really just kind of opened my eyes, and I was like, this is why this feels so right.
Yeah.
And
that's awesome.
The closer I got to him and the more I gave, the better my life got.
Yeah.
And so, like, I feel like my miracle was like at my lowest moment when I, sat down and just cried, and gave everything to him. He carried me through that storm. And we've lived through 100% of our worst days.
Yeah.
And will I have bad days? Oh yeah. Still have them today. Have hard days, right? And I'll still have challenges, and bad things will still happen to me, but it's being that lighthouse.
Yeah.
And so, like, my faith, through that whole journey and like to where I am today, like, I'm living a life I dreamed of 5 years ago.
Yeah.
right?
That's pretty cool.
And so it's my testimony is one that just, I'll tell it to anybody, anytime, anywhere, because it's going to help somebody, and that's the whole goal.
Well, hopefully your wife's not listening to this part, but you said my current wife, and there's a TikTok meme where the husbands are playing a joke on their wives and they're filming and they're like, "Hey, I just wanted to introduce you to my current wife." And she's like, "What do you mean current?" And they're smacking them and all that. So it's pretty fun. That's why it jumped out at me. So, all right. So who is Nathan outside of work and faith? What do you do? Obviously you exercise. Well, what else?
So, we try to live healthy. I think health is super important. I subscribe to Core 4, which is power, passion, purpose, and productivity, right? You gotta.
Well, you're all in.
Dude, and again, I got to give Sean Whalen, met him, got in his group, spent some time with him, read his book, and took a lot of, and you don't have to agree with everything everybody does, but a lot of these principles that he just kind of preaches, that Core 4, I did it for years on his app, and then I got out of his group, and I still do it. And so with my meeting, every Saturday, it's passion, purpose, productivity. Yeah. What am I doing this week to date my wife? What am I going to do to be intentional with my kids? I'm going to take care of my body because that's my power, and I can't go run 100 miles an hour if I'm not healthy, right? So what am I putting in my body? What am I putting in my mind? And just continue to listen to people like that. But I love cars. I got some projects going on. I've worked on cars my whole life, with my dad, rebuilding them and stuff. And so we're car people. Like to exercise, and I love spending time with my wife. I'm one of those guys that I'd comment.
And your kids, I see you nonstop.
Oh yeah, well, and they're fun, man. They're teenagers, and so many people are like, "Oh, my teenager, my middle schooler, he's when you get out of high school, you get a little bit better, But you got,
mine's great. My teenagers, my oldest was not the best teenager, but my youngest he's fantastic. He makes fun of me enough to keep me humble.
Yep.
But he likes to keep me closer than I thought he would at this time. So I still like that.
Oh, yeah. And we're super close to all of our kids. And if they've got girlfriends, we know them. And they work, two of them work for somebody we know. And they work over their partners. And so, because you can't do construction during school kind of thing, because one of them works for me in the summers. But, and they're all great kids. Yeah. And so we love spending time with them. I love, dating my wife and spending time with her. We do. We do everything together. Yeah. And, I'll occasionally go play golf or whatever, but that's not really my thing,
It's just something you do.
And I enjoy working. And I know, it's kind of
and that's fun too. When you enjoy your job, it makes it easier. You can pour into it.
Yeah. Well, and you brought up community, and, we do development.
Yeah.
And so over the last year and kind of searching for what our purpose is. So as a business, as a contractor and a development company. So we still build third-party construction. We still do all that. But we've really started going after community development. And so we've got a project coming up in Noonan that we're getting ready to break ground on. And we designed it to serve our community, to serve a need that we don't have, right? Because when I want to go on a date with Jen, we can go to a restaurant and sit down. We can go to the bowling alley. There's not a whole lot to do down here. You got to go to Atlanta for all the fun stuff. So we're trying to build an entertainment district.
Okay.
Big food court, games, some shuffleboard pool tables, big lawn for the kids and people to hang out, watch football games, listen to music. So our goal in that was to build something that serves our community.
Yeah.
Named it the Forum because I want people to gather there. And so we've got coffee and stuff. And so we were like, man, we're going to have all these seats, and we got this big rooftop bar where you can see a sunrise, you can see a sunset. We got this lawn. When everybody comes in to start prepping, while we open the coffee up and just open the doors, and you don't have to come buy anything. But if there's a women's knitting group that wants to come meet at 8 a.m., or there's some moms that want to let their kids run around at 10 and meet on a nice day and just sit there and have coffee and hang out, I want it to be open to the community. Yeah. And then we're doing a shared workspace as well, which I think will be huge because there's a lack of that.
That's definitely needed. And then, I've talked to a lot of people recently that started working from home.
Yeah.
And now they're like, and it's just, that's their rub, is that they still need to meet clients.
Yeah.
And they don't have anything to do anywhere
near. It's easy to get distracted.
And the distraction.
You got a kitchen, a couch, and you're like, well, I'll take a break and I'll get a snack, and then that turns into
unload the dishwasher. Let me go ahead and do the laundry real quick.
Yeah, because and so I think that's a huge need. We actually just bought the Grantville mill, like the old textile mill. And we're working on that right now. That'll probably take about a year, but we got to do some cleanup, and we're going to it's going to be a huge food court. It's going to be housing, lofts. I mean, it's going to be great.
Yeah.
And it's built to serve the community, to be a destination.
Yeah. So on the way home we had a soccer tournament somewhere in North Carolina, and on the way home, we just Googled it, got great reviews, and you just kind of walked in, and they were like, what are the back of the truck things called?
Like food trucks.
They weren't food trucks. The big metal boxes that like you store your furniture in nowadays, and what are those things called?
Connexes, yeah.
And they were just like in a big circle, like what you're talking about. Mm-hmm. And then I guess they were like two stacked, and then each little one was a different type of. It was like a food court, but all made out of those.
Out of the
shipping containers. That's what it is. The shipping containers. And then they had, benches, and they had like a tiny stage in the corner. And so sometimes a guy could just play a guitar over there. And there was just so many things. And it was just kind of a place where people just kind of went in and did whatever they want. It was like a food court for a mall, an upscale one, but outside. And it was really cool. Yeah. I love that idea.
Yeah. So we've got one coming up in Tyrone. Got another one coming up in Hogansville. Wow. And so we're really, and then of course we do all of our third party, construction and stuff, but all of our developments are all community oriented now to serve a purpose. We're doing one with a nonprofit. And so that's just really exciting to me because it lights my fire. Yeah. Development's great. We built neighborhoods and apartments and all that kind of stuff. But I had a meeting with the city the other day, and we started talking about everything to do. And they're like, hey, did you know you can actually clear all this and you can make an amphitheater? And I was like, really? And they were like, well, we have a trail system. You can build the trailhead there. And this is a big project. Yeah. I mean, this is probably take 5 to 7 years to fully develop. It's an amazing, and it's all community oriented. And when we left that meeting, everybody in the room was like, this is going to be so great. Yeah. People are going to come. This is and it's just all going to serve the community. And of course, it has to be profitable for our investors. Oh, yeah. But
you could do both.
But man, just the impact we can make, to give people an outdoor space, to give people a walking trail, and it's going to change that entire community that we're going to go into. Yeah. And those are the things really that I'm like, what do I want to do with the next 10 years of my life? I want to do that.
I want to say, it sounds like you got a plan.
Yeah. And it's just, and I'm just, as a guy in my group said, he's just on fire for the Lord, and it's really yes, I want to make money, but I want to be able to do it in a way that we're giving back so much that we just keep filling the cup up and we just keep pouring it back out.
That's awesome.
Right. And making a difference.
So what's your favorite tool?
Discipline.
No, I meant literally. Literally.
My favorite hand tool?
Your favorite as a builder. This is my closing question. I snuck it in there. What is your favorite tool that you on the site? And if you want to go big toy or whatever, if you like driving tractors, I don't know what all you do out there. But
well, we're getting ready to buy some of the big toys.
Okay.
So I'm kind of excited about that. Used to own, excavators and all that stuff, and we got rid of it all. And so we're getting back into doing some of that, I think. So those are super cool, but probably the hammer, because that's the first tool you start with.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest deal about a hammer is that to take the next step in business, you have to put the hammer down, but you have to keep it because you're going to need it some days. Yeah. And a good leader takes his hammer back out and uses it when he needs to, right? And if you looked in the back of my truck, I got a broom and a blower and a shovel because we're moving some dirt somewhere. And there's not always somebody on that job because we're just hauling in dirt. Yeah. But I'm close by. And so every day or two, I go by and sweep up the road and blow all the dirt off just to keep it clean. Yeah. And that's what a good leader does. And so I like the hammer because I've had to put it down to run my company, but I still love picking it back up and building some stuff every now and then.
I feel like somehow the hammer is, maybe because it's the first tool you buy yourself or given. Mm-hmm. I still have my first hammer that I bought because I did construction in college as a side job, a few years ago. And I don't really build anything, but I still have that hammer. I know what kind it is, and I can describe it to you. I can tell you where it is in there. And I got 5 or 6 other hammers, but I still have that one.
That's right.
But I couldn't tell you any other tool that I've ever bought.
And having the right hammer. Because I remember going to look at hammers when I was in college or whatever, and I had to buy a hammer or get my first hammer. And you look at them, and there's all sorts of different kinds of hammer. So knowing which kind of hammer you need too, I think that's such a great analogy for life is you do need 6 different hammers.
Yeah.
It depends on what you're working
on,
right?
Yeah.
So yeah, man, that's good stuff. Yeah. I like the hammer analogy because that is when people are scaling their business. Yeah. They're like, you're still holding the hammer. And I'm like, I'm still holding the hammer. Like it's some good advice.
You got to hit people over the head with it too sometimes.
Hey, you got to have it in
and
your
hit yourself over the head once in a while.
You never know when you got to fix something.
That's right. I appreciate it. This has been fantastic.
Yeah, man.
I know that it's good when I get up and check the camera.
There you go.
Like, because I'm like, I better be getting this. Because I've had twice. I've done 112 episodes.
Oh, wow.
Twice it's cut off on me.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and that's not fun.
No.
And like, I don't even think the people know. I don't even tell them. They've never brought it up when the interview cuts off halfway on the podcast. Yeah. So I don't even know if they can go back and listen to it. So we'll see. But thank you very much.
Yeah, man. Well, I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah,
and, cool. Hopefully we help somebody.
Yeah, definitely.
This whole goal.
Are you having a David day?